In this episode, the 2022 24 Hours of Le Mans. We got a bunch of new upcoming LMDhs and Formula One Azerbaijan Baku Grand Prix. Welcome to episode 78 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rao. We got to watch the start of the Le Mans 24 together.
We did.
It was pretty hype.
Yeah, I was stoked.
Did you see them do the helicopter shenanigans at the beginning?
I did, and it's freaking sick. It
awesome
is so
when they do
cool.
that.
And then that helicopter with like that steep pitch nosedive swoop across the start finish.
Right.
So cool.
The soldiers rappel out with the tricolore. Not exactly sure how you say that. The French flag, anyway.
Yes.
And then they run down to the start finish, and that's what they use to start the race.
It's so cool.
Super cool. Cool tradition that they do in France.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what actually happened in the race.
Yeah, let's get into some 2022 Le Mans.
There was a
24 hours.
lot, and at the same time, in certain classes, there was a whole lot of nothing.
True.
Yeah. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with hypercar.
Ooh, you want to start with the top
toppest
class?
of it, the classes.
That was the class that was kind of boring.
Well, yes.
So, they qualified as Toyota, Glickenhaus, Alpine.
Yep.
They finished the same way.
Mm-hmm.
After 24 hours of racing.
Nothing changed.
No. Kind of unfortunate.
But that means that Glickenhaus did get on podium.
They did,
Hey.
which is cool.
Let's
It's an
go.
American team making a podium at Le Mans.
Yeah.
Overall, neat to see. Can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
But as far as the racing went, there wasn't any.
The Alpine was 1,000 miles back.
Yeah. Alpine was quick in qualifying, and then they got slapped with a BOP penalty right before the race of like 10 to 13 horsepower. It was somewhere around there.
They got BOP'd to death.
And they started the race and couldn't pass P2 cars.
Yeah, they were getting blue flagged for P2 cars.
It
Like,
was bad.
P2 cars were passing them, and they're like, what? Wait, I'm the hypercar here. You need to remember who's who.
Now, do remember that Alpine is basically a P2 car, just turned up a teeny bit.
True. It looks kind of P2-ish.
It does. And next year, I believe that they're going down to P2.
Oh, so
I
they're
think
not going to be a hypercar next year.
Right. They're changing out some bodywork, some mechanical bits, and then they're going into P2.
Probably a good call for them.
I would agree. P2, though, had some hype.
P2 is exciting.
P2 was exciting for the first 3 quarters of the race. It was exciting.
Yeah, there was a couple of teams that were battling pretty tightly in P2. There was, I don't even remember what teams. There was that Prema Orland team. There was a couple, Richard Mille. There's a couple teams that were pretty deep in it.
There was something like 25 different teams that were, or 25 different cars that were
Holy
in P2.
Cow, that's a lot.
Yeah, a ton, which is awesome to see.
Big class.
Because you want to see a big class with a ton of, competition in it, in each class. But did you see in the beginning of the race, 200 meters into the race, not even to the first corner,
Yep.
P2 cars were getting into it with each other, smacking bodywork, running into the gravel, ruining races, just...
It was what, United Autosport, that the first corner of the first lap of a 24-hour race was essentially had their race ruined.
Yeah.
And they were quick and quality too.
They were one of the favorites to win.
Mm-hmm.
There's the line of P2 cars.
And an Alpine.
And an Alpine. Which is sad.
Which is behind a P2.
Right.
Ooh, that's a good line of GT cars. Corvette, Porsche, Ferrari.
So that brings us to GT.
Okay.
Where Corvette was the dominant team.
They were. They should have won.
They should have won, but they did not win. So were you watching the broadcast when the one Corvette got crashed by a P2 car? Yeah.
So as a Porsche fan, I was stoked. But as a racing fan, I hate to see that.
It was rough to watch.
Because the Corvette had absolutely nothing to do with anything there.
No.
Completely innocent bystander and got obliterated by the P2.
Yeah.
Eesh.
I know the P2 driver was very upset with himself, which that's fine.
Rightly so.
But it was a weird situation because the broadcast team was reading off the retirement of the other Corvette while on the screens the other car is crashing.
Oof.
And it was like, oh, that's so disappointing for them.
That hurts. Because, I mean, did you watch the crash happen?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like, what was it, a P2 car going around a GT Am or something like that?
Two P2 cars.
Two P2s.
Going past the Corvette.
And one, I guess, thought he had more room next to a Corvette, realized real quick he didn't, gave the Corvette a bump, and that sent him sideways into the wall.
Hard into the wall.
Yeah.
Suspension, toast, tires, toast.
The car is not salvageable at that point.
Yeah. Very unfortunate. But that did leave Porsche versus Ferrari. And Ferrari got BOP'd before the race, so Porsche was basically handed the win.
Yeah.
And it's the swan song for that car.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Your RSR got the win, and it won't be back next year.
Pretty much.
Neither will that Corvette. Neither will those Ferraris in that class, because that class is going away.
Yes.
They couldn't get four different cars to commit to racing next year. So they said, GTE Pro, goodbye. This is the last Le Mans for you.
That's sad.
That's okay, because I think the next year after that, GTE AM is moving over to a GT3 spec, which there's a ton of debate about how that's going to work. Yeah. But that will bring in many more cars from many more manufacturers.
Yeah, we'll get all the Porsche GT3Rs. We'll get potentially the Lexus from GT Daytona.
Acuras, BMWs,
Ferraris. We'll get
Corvette,
the Mercedes AMG GT, right. Audi R8s.
Everyone's moving that direction, as they should be. GT3 spec is great. I think that it's a fantastic move for them. There are a lot of people that are very in Le Mans that don't like that.
That don't like GT3 spec versus GTE?
They don't like GT3 spec at Le Mans.
Why?
I don't know. They just want Le Mans to be different. And I'm not a fan.
I get that, but if it's going to make the racing itself better, then it's worth it.
Either you move to GT3 or you don't have GT class racing at Le Mans. They're at that point.
Give me GT3.
100%.
Because we have to have GT class racing at Le Mans.
There are seriously people debating only having prototype racing at Le Mans right now.
That would be horrible.
I agree. I think it'd be terrible. But there are people saying that might be a thing. I don't think so. But I've also heard some shenanigans that if they bring GT class racing to Le Mans, you're going to have to buy a GT3 class car from whatever manufacturer. Say I buy the Porsche. And while I go to Le Mans, I will have to buy another aero kit for my car that's Le Mans specific. And the ACO is trying to mandate that.
Why?
Money.
Oh, my God.
It's terrible.
That sucks.
It is really bad. And I know
that's going to cut out a lot of GT teams.
Mm-hmm. Even the BMW, the Porsche, and I think Ferrari, every brand representative that came on and talked on the broadcast about that to the Radio Le Mans guys were all like, we don't want that. What? This is dumb.
Yeah, why would we do that? We have a perfectly good GT3 car. It runs in races around the world.
It doesn't need a Le Mans specific aero kit for another $150,000. That sounds terrible.
And most teams aren't going to do that.
No. Why would you? You can race the car everywhere else in the world without that aero kit.
Yeah.
And only at Le Mans.
It's dumb.
So, coming up here, there's going to be some weird stuff going on in GT at Le Mans, which I kind of really don't like, but it is what it is.
I just hope they sort it out.
I suspect, even if the manufacturers don't want to do it, there's no way the ACO can pull that off.
I hope not.
They're not going to build the aero kit.
No one will.
No. In which case, I guess they're just not going to run GT cars at Le Mans, which would be terrible for the fans, and they're going to hear about it. Like do you think they would do that 1 year? Do you think they'd try to hold that ground, hold their line, and then say, well, then fine.
we'll just not do GT cars. We'll just do prototypes.
And the
Do you think
fans
they'd
just-
actually do that?
You see the fans just come up in a riot and just lose their minds?
That's the worry.
I can totally see Pierre Fiat trying to do that. I can totally see it. Will it work? No. No way.
Horrible.
No.
It'd be so bad.
It's terrible. No way.
We gotta have GT cars at Le Mans. We got to. We can't not have GT cars at Le Mans.
I agree. So Porsche won GT
E
Pro.
Pro.
God.
Yeah.
Naming conventions and classes. And who won GTE AM?
The Seaman car.
Hey.
Yeah. Laughing in Clarkson face. Put the smug face on. Right. Yeah. So the team that is the Four Horsemen Racing team that races the Aston Martin Vantage AMR with Ben Keating, Enrique Chavez Jr., and Marco Sorensen in that Vantage, the Seaman car that took the win in GT AM. And I'm just happy to see Ben Keating winning in pretty much everywhere he goes.
Yeah, I am as well.
He's a stud.
He is. That's awesome.
But there was a Porsche in second, though.
Oh, who was that?
It was our local Porsche, WeatherTech.
Oh.
The WeatherTech Porsche came in second with Cooper McNeil, Julian Anlauer, and Thomas Merrill. So in the top two places in GT-AM, there were 3 American drivers
Heck yeah.
between Ben Keating, Cooper McNeil, and Thomas Merrill.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Super, super cool. So that basically leads us up to what is going to be next year at Le Mans.
Yes.
Next year at Le Mans is going to be super hype.
Yes.
How many different LMDh cars are we going to have for different manufacturers next year?
I don't know if numbers go up that high. So this is the last year that Toyota's had it easy.
Right.
Right. Starting next year, we have Toyota, Glickenhaus, maybe not Alpine, probably not. BMW, Acura, Porsche, Cadillac, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Peugeot, Van Wall, Bicolas.
Whoa.
So that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe more.
Whoa.
That's a lot of hypercars, a lot of LMDHs.
That is kind of a ton.
That's a
of
lot of
hypercars.
top class racing.
Like
Like,
that's what we want to
think
see.
about that. That's a lot of top class racing.
That's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm stoked. Of all of those, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The Porsche.
What other favorite do you have?
Okay. After the Porsche, I'm going to say my next is going to be kind of a tie between 2 American teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Glickenhaus and, surprisingly, the Cadillac.
Yes. Beautiful segue into the renders, keyword renders, of the new Cadillac LMDh. Check it out.
It's so cool.
It's fantastic looking.
It's way more rounded than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It is way more rounded.
I like it.
I really like it. So, as I scroll through these, is it missing something?
Yes.
What might that be?
Missing 2 things. Speed. And mirrors.
It's missing mirrors.
It's mirrorless.
It is mirrorless. And a lot of keen-eyed viewers noticed it was mirrorless. And they said, hey, Cadillac, why is this mirrorless? And then Cadillac responded with saying, this is a render. And then everyone went, oh, it's not the real car. They will say it is very close to the real car. And the real car looks nearly identical to this. But after ACO homologation and IMSA homologation, you're going to need mirrors and you're going to need some other small bits here and there that will make it legal to race in the series. So it won't look exactly like this, but it will look very close to this. And I think it still looks fantastic.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. A lot.
And I hope it sounds like the current DPI.
It will, because it has, I think, a 5.8 liter V8, and it's going to be loud and rumbly and graspy and deep.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Exactly what we want to see.
So cool.
Yes.
But that's just a lot of cars.
There was also a render, well, kind of a render, a little sneak preview from Ferrari, which was this. for all that's worth.
I laugh at the car companies that do these reveals, these renders, where it's like, here's a shower curtain with a light in it, and here's our new car.
Yeah, it's just a Ferrari badge, Ferrari logo, and then like an outline of a headlight.
Hey, that means we're getting the Ferrari LMDh for sure.
We will,
right?
We will be getting that. And
there's another render though.
What was that?
The Lamborghini.
Aha. Looks very fast.
Another Italian.
Another Italian brand.
So let's see. We got Japanese, American, German, Japanese, German, American, Italian, French, and French.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a lot of different countries in top class racing now.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Le Mans next year is going to be amazing.
So
I believe most of them.
If you're watching on YouTube or if you're on audio, drop a comment on the video. Let us know which one of the new LMDHs is your favorite.
Yeah.
If you like the new Cadillac, if that's something your favorite, or if the Porsche is, of course, your favorite, right?
Of course. Yeah, this new Lamborghini looks really good. It does give me the Lamborghini vibe, right? The angles.
Wedgy.
Yeah.
It's very wedgy.
Which is fantastic, because that's what it should be.
I'm a fan.
The BMW looks like a BMW.
I was going to say, it does seem like most of these cars are pretty on brand.
They are on brand. The Cadillacs look like a Cadillac. Well, their DPI car. The Acura is their DPI car.
Literally with a different name.
Peugeot, though.
That's bold.
That's very bold.
That's going to be the most weird-looking thing in the world to see racing.
Wingless.
A wingless hypercar.
Weird. But it will be out racing in the next WEC race, which is cool.
Do you know where that is?
I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know that they'll be there because they tried to get to Le Mans this year, but they couldn't quite make it. Mm-hmm. And instead, they're going to be going to the next race and gathering data. I think they've been doing tests.
Monza. Going to Monza on the 10th of July.
That's where it is. Yep. So great to see them out there. They're going to be gathering data. Hopefully, these teams can come with legitimate chances to win. Because I will say, Toyota looked pretty good this year.
They did. They were just on autopilot. They didn't even have to think.
Nope. They were set it on cruise and go.
Yeah, just rock and roll. Way you go.
They didn't have much competition. And maybe their game plan changes if they have competition.
I think it has to change.
I don't know.
Because you can't race the same race when you've got some other big-name manufacturers, Porsche, Acura, Cadillac. You've got some big boys coming into the box here.
I would disagree with that, though. I think that you run your race. Everyone says at Le Mans, we are going to run our race, which is we get as much fuel and tire strategy as we can for our cars and not worry about what happens around us.
Fair point.
But when it's 2 a.m. and you're battling for the lead and you're going down the Mulsanne and it's raining and there's a Corvette in your way, you're not really running your race at that point. And
Correct.
You never know what happens. That's why we love Le Mans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be an amazing next year. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be wild.
Is that all you got for Le Mans?
That's all my Le Mans talk I've got.
All right. Fantastic. What do we got next?
Some Formula One.
Ooh. Did you watch the F1 race?
I caught about the last 10 laps of it and immediately turned right back to Le Mans.
You caught the boring bits, didn't you?
It's a boring race. It's a boring circuit. It's just boring. It's just so boring.
So F1 was at...
I hate the circuit.
Where were they at?
Azerbaijan, the Baku Grand Prix.
The Baku Grand Prix.
I hate the circuit so much. It's so it's a big ball circuit, great, but it's so boring to watch.
I agree.
I hate it so much.
I would rather watch Monaco every time.
Ugh.
At least Monaco's pretty.
Yes.
Baku is
boring.
It's not particularly pretty.
No, it's not pretty. It's just dumb. It's dumb. Get rid of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Sorry.
I would agree. I think that there's a lot of money flowing.
And as you pointed out, there's not a single freaking fan anywhere because no one cares about the Baku Grand Prix.
I don't know if it was COVID restrictions or what, but I didn't really see many fans on the broadcast.
Scrolling through the pictures, there's like no one around anywhere.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. But the race overall was the Red Bull versus Ferrari battle. Sadly for Ferrari, both of them DNF'd.
The Scuderia did not do so well.
No, which basically handed Red Bull the win.
Yeah, I believe both of the Ferraris died.
Yeah, they did.
One blew up, one was hydraulic something. Right?
Yes. Unfortunate for them.
Yikes.
So that also did put Mercedes in a spot where they could get a podium.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that George Russell came on the podium.
Who came on the podium?
George Russell.
So of the two Mercedes, the new boy.
The new boy indeed.
Ah.
Which extends the George Russell over Lewis Hamilton Mercedes.
I'm just saying, Russell has learned he just needs to shut up and race the car.
Yes, he does.
And he's consistently finishing above Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Has Hamilton finished above him once this whole year?
I can't recall one.
Oh, ooh, that's got to sting.
It's not definitive, but I cannot recall one.
Oof.
So, yeah. Big yikes. I will say that the porpoising was back in action, baby.
Porpoising.
Yes. Did you see any of the porpoising?
I heard about it. I didn't really see much of it, but I heard
Oh
it.
my. The Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton came on the radio in a practice session and said, "My spine hurts."
Oof.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So
very bad.
here's a question. Why does this F1 car porpoise but Indy doesn't?
I don't know.
Because Indy's ground effect.
Right. I would assume that it's just time and engineering data that they need to sort this out.
Then why wouldn't they have literally just called the Indy guys and be like, "Hey, boys, why the hell are you not porpoising and we are killing our drivers?"
If you're an F1, you're not calling Indy. There's no way.
You're going anywhere to get a better edge.
There's no way.
Why, ego?
Yes. Just ego.
Oh,
There's no way. They're not calling
egotistical.
because it's essentially American F1, right? That's what Indy is.
In theory, yeah.
You have the mix of the NASCAR style ovals. You have the road courses, some of the best road courses in America, and you have good, talented drivers with right now debatably way better performing cars and cheaper. Not as fast, but debatably better to watch race because you have closer racing.
So my dad and I were talking about this. There's a theory. What if it's because of ride height?
Oh, it's a combination of suspension, ride height, stiffness. Even the tires are different this year. Remember how they have the smaller sidewalls?
Yeah.
It's a combination of a bunch of things. And you would think for the amount of money that Mercedes spends on R&D that they'd have this sorted out by now. But no, they don't. They're not the only team. Ferrari was bouncing. Red Bull was a little bit bouncing, but they looked the best. Almost every team but Red Bull was bouncing and porpoising. And it looked rough for the drivers.
Oof.
Yeah. So overall, the race was kind of boring once the two Ferraris DNF'd.
So running through some results here, we got Max Verstappen, Red Bull 1, Sergio or Checo Perez with Red Bull, number 2, George Russell with the Mercedes, number 3, Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes, number 4, and then, interestingly enough, Pierre Gasly in an AlphaTauri
Wow.
in 5th, followed by Sebastian Vettel in an Aston. Fernando Alonso in an Alpine had a better finish than the Alpines in Le Mans. And then we had 2 McLarens, Daniel Ricciardo, followed by Lando Norris, and then Esteban Ocon. So that rounds out the top 10, all the point scorers.
Do you know where the championship stands at the moment? Because I'm 100% sure Red Bull's in the lead with Verstappen. I would bet you that Checo is probably now second.
So constructors standings, Red Bull 279 over Ferrari 199 over Mercedes 161. Going to the driver standings, we are Max Verstappen with 150 in first, Sergio Perez, Red Bull 129 in second, followed by Ferrari, Charles Leclerc 116, and then George Russell with Mercedes at 99, and then the other Ferrari, Carlos Sainz at 83, and then Lewis Hamilton way down in 6th with 62 points.
Yeah, no.
He's done.
He's done.
He's not anywhere going to be close to number 1.
Not this year. No.
Nope. No way how.
It doesn't really, well, not yet, but it's starting to get that feeling that it doesn't look like Ferrari will have a big charge at Red Bull.
They're going to need a lot of engineering and a lot of luck.
Yeah.
For that to happen, Ferrari needs to magically gain tons of pace and be reliable.
They need DNFs from Red Bull.
And that's the lady luck that we need to show up.
Right.
Red Bull needs to start blowing up.
Right. It could happen.
It could. It is, yeah. And
you never know.
Like you said, these are new cars, so there's a lot to be discovered.
But interesting to note that now it's in the Drivers' Championships, a Red Bull, then a Ferrari.
Yep.
That means that Sergio and Leclerc swap places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sets us up for an interesting rest of the season, where I hope we get a good battle like we did last year.
You know which race is coming up?
What?
Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix.
Where's that held at?
Montreal.
Yeah,
in
but what's
Quebec.
the name of the track?
Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
That's what it is.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Having walked that track,
Mm-hmm.
it's a neat track. I do like that track. It reminds me of Belle Isle. We kind of talked about this. It's kind of on an island in a park. It's kind of Belle Isle-esque.
There will be fans. Better than the...
Yeah, better than Baku.
Baku.
This is stupid Grand Prix. But I'm excited to watch that.
I'm too. That track does have some heritage in F1, which is cool to see. Did they race that last year? Or did that get pushed for COVID?
That got pushed for COVID.
Thought so.
But I think that's kind of all the racing coming up this weekend, isn't it?
I believe so.
There's no WEC. There's no IMSA. IMSA's on a break because of WEC for the Le Mans.
Mm-hmm.
Indy this coming week?
Indy ran... I don't know where Indy's going to be
Indy
at.
might be this weekend.
I know that NASCAR the past weekend had run at Sonoma.
Road course. Okay.
Which is cool to see. And
There's not a lot of racing coming up this weekend, is there?
I don't think so. No.
Well,
No.
I guess if you're going to watch racing, watch the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yep. Hopefully
So,
it's entertaining.
You got anything else?
I think that's it, buddy.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up for episode 78. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Leave us a thumbs up and a comment on the video. If you are on audio only, please leave us a 5-star rating and a review on your platform of choice. Don't forget to follow us on social. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. YouTube is We Are Auto. And our website is weareauto.io. So again, thank you so much. Catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.